Hello, and welcome to Learning Without Tears, Ask an OT. I'm Katrina Erickson, and I'm an occupational therapist. I've spent the majority of my career working with children in handwriting as well as school readiness skills. And today I'm going to ask a question that was sent in to us through Instagram. And here's the question. It says, how do I keep the learning fun from home and at school with different ideas that don't use technology as much? Well, that's a great question. And today with our virtual learning and during our pandemic, our technology has really come to the rescue to help us. But it can be overwhelming at times. As a matter of fact, technology can increase stress levels. It limits some hands-on activities, and it's really hard on our eyes, okay? It causes a lot of eye fatigue and kind of cognitive fatigue as well. Now, if you're using really good digital teaching tools, you can keep the engagement up and help your children learn. But here's just a few more ways that you can work on handwriting or other learning activities without ever touching technology. And the first one I want to talk to you about is dice. Now, dice are a fun game in any way, because when I think about fun, I really think about children and children's games. So you can make your own dice like I have here. I have some capital letters on dice, and I have some lowercase letters on dice. And all I did was use a nice little template that highlights or is able to be written on and folded. And you can find these online, and you could, roll out letters that you want to have your children practice or maybe write words that start with. And with that, I want to share a really great and fun game that came to us through Emily Napton. And I'm going to put a post in it in our blog. So make sure that you go ahead and follow through to the blog so that you can get the download for this. And it comes with a dice sheet with our frog jump capitals on it, and then also a downloadable sheet for them to practice in the gray blocks. So I hope that you check this one out. There's a great video of her students using it in her classroom, and it's a great fun way to get your children engaged in playing and practicing letters without technology. Now, another thing that you can do is I think about games and I think about spinners, okay? So I have a spinner here with all the letters on it. Children can spin letters to practice. They could also do one with number practice. Now, you could do this for cursive as well. And I love this spinner because then they spin it for what activity they're going to do. Is it going to be the slate? Is it going to be our roll-a-dough letters, the Stampin' screen, the wood pieces? Or maybe they do it with shaving cream on a baking sheet. So lots of fun things that you can do there. Now, you could also create your own make activities like I have done with some of my students. I have a very special envelope that's their very special envelope. And when we start off our sessions, and even at home, I have parents do this with their students. And as a teacher, you could do this with your students as well. Maybe you need to work on something and maybe they aren't able to play around the playground, but they could go walk and see things. So they could go either on a scavenger hunt, okay, or even a nature walk. So I'll hide an activity in their special envelope for them to do during the day. Now, let's say that they went on a nature walk and you found and saw some things. Well, they could write about what they saw if they're old enough to write about it. They could write the letters that begin at the beginning of those letters. They could collect items and make a picture, and then you could show them how to write the letters in those words. So I've got an example of that here with a young girl that we went on a nature walk. She found some leaves and some sticks, and she made herself her own fall butterfly, which is what she calls moths. That was her understanding of the moths that she was seeing in the evening times and throughout the day, and they were called fall butterflies. So I'll show you a picture of that right now. All right, now lastly, I do want to just follow up and talk to you about Tic Tac Toe. How about Tic Tac Toe? What a great game for young kids, right? And Tic Tac Toe doesn't always have to be about X's and O's, right? It can be letters, it could be numbers. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, real quick, I just want to show you about Tic Tac Toe and using it with letters instead of X's and O's. Now, of course, your student can always be an X or an O if they know those letters well, and U would be a letter or a number that they need to learn how to do. So, for instance, I might let my student go first, and I'll say, okay, you choose and go ahead and be an O, and I'll let them be an O. And maybe I need them to learn how to make the capital letter N correctly. I will be the N. I'll say big line down, jump back up to the top, slide down and push up. All right, now it's your turn. Then the student will put their next one in. They know how to make the O really well. And I'll say, okay, now it's time for me to make my N. I want to block you. So I'm going to say big line down, jump back up to the top, slide down and up. Always make sure that you say it as you're making it. And you're going to continue this play, okay, until somebody wins the game. All right. And then on this second game, what's going to happen is you're going to switch letters and you'll let the student be the N and you're going to be the O. All right. And you'll just play along that way. Now you can do this with letters and numbers. You could do it with lowercase. So you can see here that I have a lowercase one. And what I did is I just drew in the baselines with our double lines for the student to be able to work on placement. And so we're doing B's and P's here. But I always highlight the grid of the tic-tac-toe board so that they can focus on where they're supposed to be placing their letter within the lines and what is their tic-tac-toe grid. So this could also work for cursive as well. So here's an example of a tic-tac-toe board for cursive. All right. Now I hope that you have found some of these activities, things that you'll want to improve and put into your learning environments, whether you're at home or at school, to get additional practice with handwriting without ever touching technology. All right, I hope you guys had fun. I hope you learned some new activities or have been reminded of activities that you might want to put in place. And if you have a question for us, go ahead and drop that in our comment section, and maybe we'll feature your question on our next upcoming Ask an OT session.